Kind of like maybe I'll save up for another blue orb. Oh yeah, we're okay. This is the place. Yeah, the whole place has been totally shuffled around, so it's kind of hard to be like. It's a little hard to quite remember where I am. But I'm kind of piecing like, oh yeah, I remember this place. I remember that place. You know. Love planet. What the hell are we doing back here? I think if I could ask for one change in that cutscene, it just would have been like when he's going up the piece that's falling off. Okay, also most of that time was literally because I didn't pause the game, so I imagine it counted all that time that I was just standing there for. But I wish like when he came off it or something, if he would have like used his sword or the Cerberus to like launch him kind of forward there. But that's just like a small thing. That cutscene is pretty freaking great though. Control the tower, control your destiny. I kind of thought there was something going to happen there in that cutscene, but I guess it's just kind of a, hey, here's what Lady's up to. Anything out here? Oh. I just wanted to explore, man. Anyway, I am done for now. I'm getting hungry, and yeah, I'm glad that mission I just did didn't have. I'm glad it didn't have a boss at the end. I definitely feel more happy with the progress I made this time around. Like last recording session, I think it was like 3 hours and 43 minutes or something like that, and I did like 2-3 stages. It was brutal. So this time to get 5 done feels much better. It also just made me go, yeah, man, this playthrough is gonna be fairly lengthy. Now I'm gonna have a good chunk to cut out because of just the length that some of the boss fights taken. Like, if I'm spending, I don't really have like an exact time limit where I like cut it off, but if I'm spending, I don't know, 15, 20 plus minutes on a boss fight, as long as it's multiple attempts, yeah, I'm probably gonna cut some of those attempts out. Because the attempt that's the most important is the one that I actually win. Even if that one I win takes me like, you know, even if that's like a 15-minute fight, kind of like how the Batgirl was. If it takes me that long to win the fight, but that is the winning fight, then like that's the one I'm just gonna use. I know it might not always be the most exciting. I'm just a more passive person and don't always like the most aggressive styles of combat. More so in boss fights. Like obviously with like when you start to learn so many of the enemies, like knowing that the enemies have obviously the smaller health pools and stuff, and not wanting to be completely boring. You know, the game's giving you melee and weapon guns to use both of them, find fun ways to combo them together and stuff. So, but specifically in boss fights, yeah, I'm gonna favor a more safe strategy, and if that includes lots of shooting and lots of dodging and staying away, that's probably what I'm gonna do. I have the patience to take fights that way. I get it, it's not the most fun thing to watch, and it's like, I don't want to sound arrogant, but it is at the end of the day like my choice to play the games the way I want to. I want to entertain as best as I can, but I also want to make sure I'm having fun with the game, which, yeah, sometimes my playstyle is not the most interesting to watch. But I'd rather like be playing it the way I feel I'm decent at the game, or even good at the game, than trying to play a way that I am uncomfortable with or just clearly not good at, right? And I'm sorry like that I'm not experimenting a whole lot with some of the other weapons. I feel this kind of happens in some games like this, where it's like they hand you a handful of different weapons, or even a lot of different weapons, But I feel like I've played some games where I just default sometimes to like the earliest weapons they give you because they're really good, or I'm just happy with the kind of coverage I get. Because like I like using the Rebellion for smaller fights or one enemy, and then Cerberus is really good for more crowd control. And in some, with particular enemies too, I find it better than Rebellion. And then pistols are just like generally good all around, and I think that's kind of the idea. Is that Rebellion and Ebony and Ivory are just good all around weapons. And then, like right now, I have the shotgun, but I also really like the spiral. And depending if I actually kind of go and grind. If I go back and play any levels to grind a bit of orbs or anything, you know, then I'll do some more level up stuff for those and use them more. Because spiral, like, it's good for knocking some enemies down. I like the damage, the trick shot's fun on it. And destroying the exploding guys one shot is great. I just like shotguns, you know. It feels like it does good damage. Kind of hard to know, but you know, it's useful enough. Anyway, that will be it. That will be all for this recording session. Thank you to Ghost Cabbit who made this model. Thank you to SnowHusky who did the VRM work and retexture. And thank you to Antifreeze who does my thumbnails. I gotta get schedule more videos to go upload over the next little bit. And I will try to record either tonight or tomorrow morning again. I have 2 more nights off before I'm back to work, and we have inventory coming up. So work's going to be a little stressful on my end. And I've been, the other thing too that's like been making recording a little more difficult is I'm taking almost any extra shifts I get. The only rule I gave myself was for this particular 4 nights off I said I'm not taking any shifts. If they call me or text me, hey, do you want an extra shift? I'm saying no, because I really want those 4 nights off to recharge and take care of a few home things. And then once I'm back, if I get offered an extra shift, most likely gonna say yes. So it's making finding time to record a little more difficult, but I'll do my best. I do have time off in June. And while that will be pretty busy because I know there will be the Microsoft showcase, there's going to be Ferality, which is the main reason I booked it off was Ferality. The Microsoft showcase just ending up being around, like, I think it's June 8th. That just ending up being that time was just perfect. Also, the Nintendo Switch 2 comes out on June 5th, so that's fun. And I would imagine that they'll probably give us... I can't help but feel like they will probably give us a direct. That is like a week out or so from the Switch 2 launching. They do it like a day or 2 before the Switch launches. Like, let me actually check this. So I want to say they said it was June 5th the Switch launches. That's a Thursday. They usually do a direct on Thursdays, right? I don't know. I could see them doing a direct like either Wednesday, the day before, or maybe they do a direct the 29th. I wouldn't put it past them. It really feels like they might want to hit us with one more direct to give us way more games that could be coming for the system. Regardless, that time frame is going to be pretty busy, but I might be able to sneak in some recording. The other thing too is there's going to be Stanley Cup playoff games, and should be the final round by that time. Considering I feel like the playoffs are getting started a little late this year because of the longer break they had for 4 nations, and to kind of get ready for the Olympics next year for the extended break they're going to need for that. So it might still be like the semifinals or the conference finals at that point. But regardless, my point is there's going to be playoff games going on around that time, and I will usually kind of adjust my sleep schedule so I can actually be up to watch some of that. So that's just another thing to take into account from myself. Anyway, with that rambling out of the way, I hope this video ends up going before that day, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, we're about halfway through April, and this is the end of second recording session I'm doing, or what, my third in total for this game. So, hey, if I can do another 5 levels, well, I think it would be 6, because it would be level 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So it would be 6. And also just knowing that final boss is probably going to be really difficult, I might grind do a bit of grinding either before that fight. Literally, if I have to take a break during the recording session to go grind, I will. But I'm gonna want to make sure probably to at least have like a gold orb or 2. Hopefully I find one, because I just kind of have the feeling I'm gonna need that. I'm not putting any personal self-imposed challenges on myself. My goal is usually to learn the fight, and then once I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of it, then I will consider using items to help myself beat the fight or something of that nature. Because I know it took my friend a long time to beat. He wanted to beat that fight, the final fight with Virgil, without using any gold orbs, and I respect that. But for myself, I'm not going to self-impose anything like that on myself. And I also just like to try and keep things moving. I don't want to I don't want to cause myself that much frustration. It's just important to me to have a bit of a move on. I want to get to the next game. Not because I'm tired of this one or anything, but I just want to continue to progress because there are other games I want to get through, both in the DMC franchise and of course like other franchises I want to get to. So that is, usually my goal, right? Anyway, ramble done. I think last time this ended up like half an episode is just me rambling. So, and I know from previous playthroughs, sometimes there's an episode that's almost just entirely me talking that isn't like the final part or the first part. Not DMC 3, Dead Space 3 comes to mind, where I remember just have that one part that's like 13, 14, 15 minutes long, and yeah, I'm pretty sure about 10 minutes of that is actually just me chatting and like no progression at all in the game. So that's fun. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, ciao for now, bye.